Hey, wow. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Leigh Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Leigh on the internet, and I am broadcasting to you live from Northwest Arkansas. I see Kathy is from Arkansas. Hello, neighbor. Um, well, today's class is going to be super fun. I know it's maybe a little bit early, but I don't know about you. Fall is my favorite season. Here in the Northwest Arkansas area, we have such pretty fall. I mean, I love the changing of trees and from the reds to the oranges to the light green. I wish we had the plum colors, but maybe in Northwest, maybe in Washington or something. I've seen something like that, but we have pretty fall here. And today's class, in behalf of Faber-Castell USA, I will be using a lot of Faber-Castell products today, and I will be talking to you about a little bit about them before we proceed because I love talking about different mediums like that so that you can understand if you don't have these products there with you today, it's okay. Maybe after this class, you'll be inspired to pick up some from your local Michaels or online. Okay, so we'll switch over to the overhead and we'll get this class started, shall we? Thank you so much. Okay, so I just have regular copy paper here. I love to talk about paper. I know if this is your first class with me, I do love talking about paper because of the different materials and the mediums that I use. So in front of me, I have the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pens. Pitt Artist Pens are water-based India ink, and these are waterproof. And these are odorless, and also these will not bleed through. If you are a Bible journaler, or if you just journal, if you're a planner in the planning community, you do know that, that's one of those things I'm like, oh God, bleed through into the next page. So India inks will not bleed through, which is really awesome. And for the lefties out there, these pens are also great because they dry really fast. And once they are dry, it's waterproof, like what I said. So if you're a lefty, we did this class last week for all the lefties, and I tried my hardest to learn how to write with my left. And I realized that you guys would smudge the letters you're writing. And so these pens are really awesome when it comes to that. Okay, so Pitt Artist Pens. Also, I have here Faber-Castell Gelatos. What are gelatos? No, these are not lipsticks. These are not lip gloss, although they look like it. These are creamy pigment sticks. They're like crayons, but they're like really creamy and they're like so pigmented, and the colors are so opaque. They come in different sets. They have metallics, they also have pastels, and they also have the brights. They have many different sets, but Michaels are now carrying these individually, open stock. So if there's like any colors that you'd like to try, maybe start with the primary colors. I think these are just really awesome products to try because it's just, I use it for so many things. You can use it directly into the paper. You can use it as a watercolor. You can use it as another medium to mix with your texture paste and all that when you're doing different mixed media projects. And then lastly, I am going to be using some Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. These are oil-based pencils. Oil-based, which means that they are not going to bleed with your water-based mediums. So we can use this as a line art, um, and then use the gelatos, color with the gelatos, and these colors will not move. And we'll see that later, okay? Um, so I love using colored pencils just to add dimensions and to add depth into my drawings. You'll see that. We're going to work on that later. And then I also am going to be using some Strathmore watercolor paper. You can just use the pads or just individual paper pads. But I have this journal that I use for my watercolor drawings. You can get this also at Michael's. This is the 400 series, and I really love it. It has a soft cover, and I love working on this journal. But before we proceed to that, I always love to start my doodling class with a little bit of exercises. Why is it important to kind of get your hands and your brain coordinated when you're drawing. This is not just for kids, for you moms out there, it's really, really important to have a little bit of exercise when you're drawing. Felicia maybe saw me earlier. I was practicing a little bit in my notebook, just so I can get my muscles, working together, my brain and hands coordinated. Now, when I talk about exercises, these are just simple doodles. I want to start the class with simple shapes. Everybody can do simple shapes. So let's just start and do simple shapes. Let's start with just circles, right? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And if you have any questions, I will try my hardest to look at the chat while I'm doing this. Okay, so let's just do circles, small circles, bigger circles, wider, maybe like an oval, like that. After that, I'll start practicing with my lines. Lines, it's really hard to get a straight line. So, but with practice and enough control with your hands, it is doable, but of course it's not going to be the same as when you're using a ruler, but you can get pretty close if you practice. And that's why I love doing this exercises. Do slanted from the top to bottom, from the bottom to top, just so you can really, like, there we go. And then next one I like to do is wiggly lines or squiggly lines, like that. I just like to go wiggle, wiggle. It's kind of like waves, isn't it? All right. And then I like to do like half circles, like scallops, like this. And you know why I'm teaching you this? It's really important because the older you become and you're really not an artist, or maybe you love to draw when you were younger, and now that you're an adult, you're like, you know what? I don't know how to draw. And I started with that thought. I'm like, I don't really know how to draw when I started learning again, but I love art and I really enjoy it. So when I started learning how to doodle again and started to do lettering, I realized that what matters most is repetition, doing things over and over again, practicing and practicing. And practicing doesn't make it perfect. Practice makes things better, right? And the reason why I'm showing you that simple shapes like this, because when you're creating a doodle or you're drawing, everything is just basic shapes combined together to create these characters, especially when it comes to kawaii. Kawaii characters are, kawaii means cute in Japanese. So it has become so popular all around the world. It all started with Hello Kitty. And so everything is just simple shapes. If you look at Hello Kitty, it's like an oval, right? And then she has triangle. And then she has two eyes like this. And then the nose, that's also another oval. Let's just say that this is Hello Kitty. And then just lines. But see how simple it is? Just putting all these basic shapes and strokes and all that together, and you create like a cute character. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to draw our very own kawaii fall characters. If you've seen the worksheet that I created for you today, you've seen that I created a mushroom and I turned it into a character. I also made a pumpkin. So today that's what we're going to do. And I will show you very easy, and I hope you'll play along with me. You'll draw along with me today, because I'm super excited. I am going to switch over. You can use a pencil if you like. It is a good practice to start using a pencil first, just so when you make a mistake, you can easily erase it. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my watercolor journal because I'm going to be using some gelatos and I'll be using water for this. And I will be using a pencil first. I think I'd like to start with this one just so we can I can show you the basic first before we can get to the whole shape of the pumpkin. I'll zoom out real quick like this. Okay, so when we say pumpkin, what shape do you see? Like an oval, right? So at first, draw this very lightly. Just draw an oval like that. And then from this shape, you might not see this because it's really light, the pencil. The type of pencil I'm using right now is just an HB from Faber-Castell. So you might not be able to see that, but that's an oval shape. So I have to use my black so you guys can see. But if you're using a pencil, you should do this. But if you're using a marker, you shouldn't do it. But I just wanted to use a marker so you guys can see. This is the basic shape of a pumpkin, really. Some pumpkins are tall, some are skinny. And this is where your imagination would really come in, because you're going to choose. It's up to you. It's a personal choice. Do you want your pumpkin more like this shape? Do you want it more on this shape? So I want you to choose. I want you to make a choice what kind of pumpkin you're going to do. So basically, this is the first basic shape. Now, how can we turn this oval into a pumpkin? This is how I like to do this. So imaginary, if I have my pencil shape in an oval shape, I like to add a half circle. I start with this half circle right here. Okay, I know it looks kind of weird. And then from here, I'm gonna go from right to my left and then down. All right, so I'm gonna scooch over here and then make a line and then go down like a letter C. See, a letter C. And then I will repeat the same process, but I'll go the opposite side. So from here, it's kind of like the belly of a letter D also. And then I go stop right there in the middle. Right, and then from here, kind of like what I did there, a half circle, but instead of like a frown, this time I'm going to make a smile. Okay, and then this time we're going to create the stalk of the pumpkin, just like that. And then we're going to create again more of the letter C shapes. So this one also like that. So we have really a basic pumpkin right here. And this is, I think, is the most simplest, most easiest way to do it. Or you can just make an oval like this, and then you can just keep adding lines like that, and that would look like a pumpkin also. So don't give yourself a very hard time when you're trying to learn how to draw something first, because from your first try, you're going to learn from there. I'm like, oh, you know what? I could do this also. So, but that's what we're going to do. So we have the basic shape. Now what are we missing? Now we're missing those lines. So from here, I'm going to try and connect it without really connecting my lines. I will leave a little bit of shape, a little bit of space, and then just try to do this, lines like that. You can make it just connecting, that's okay. I like to make it like little spaces in there, leave some negative space in there. All right, so from this corner right here, I'm going to start right over there, and I'm going to follow the shape and then down and then go straight and go over to this corner again. Okay, so from this corner, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go scoop it down, and I'm going to go meet right over there. And I feel like we have enough space here to add another line. So I'm going to repeat the same process coming from here. And I'll just add another line, and then like that. Like that. Okay, then repeat the same process onto the right side. From here, just gonna go down right there. And then just enough space to do another line. Just like that. And then from here, I think I'll just add a few lines too, maybe like this. And then go over there and then go over there. Okay, so from this one, I'm going to start where my stalk began. So from there, I'm going to go make this slanted line like that. Repeat the same process onto the other side. Go over there and then go down. And then I'll add 2 more lines. Same process onto the right side, like that. From here, you can just add your cute faces, or you can add leaves. The way I love my pumpkins is like the curly little things like that. So like, ooh, so spirals. And you can repeat the same process into the other side and just create some spirals. Big, small, tight. So this is where you can start adding your cute faces. Kawaii faces they're all different. There's like a manga art, which is more like a Japanese anime. They have like this big eyes. Kawaiis, they also have just small, tiny dots. It's the most simplest, and to me, it really is super cute. And then I'll add a small mouth as well, like that. And what I like to do with the mouth is kind of like make a slant line like this. And then I will fill in this shape over there. There we go. How cute is this pumpkin? All right, so I'm gonna repeat this and move it over to my watercolor journal over here. So you can watch me do the thing again. So I'll have that. That. This. That. And I think this time with this one, I am going to make fewer lines so I can make a different look of the eyes. I'm going to start add my lines as well, like that, but just fewer this time. And then from here, I want you to add accessories. We can add like a little tiny hand on the side because this is our character. We can add a bow, we can add a star. Really, it's up to you to give your character some accessories. So for example, instead of leaves, maybe you'd like to add little hearts, or inside the stalk, maybe you like to add heart like this. And see how tiny details like that make it extra cuter. So I think I'm going to add tiny hands with mine. And when tiny hands, kawaii is really just simple lines and simple shapes. So for the hands, I'm not even going to make things complicated. I'm just going to make an oval like that. Tiny one. See? All right, and this time, I want to use my pencil first because we're going to try and I'm going to try and do a different eyes. Maybe like this, so oval again. Smaller one. Like that. And for the eyes, if you'd like to try this eyes, I'm going to do this here so you guys can see. So we did the oval. the big one first. And then inside, we're going to create another oval. But I'm finding this hard to really teach because kind of like you're creating an oval, but you have to leave a open area over here because you're going to create another kind of like the moon, a crescent moon. And so on the other side, we're going to do the same thing. So that's why it's easier for me to do this sometimes with a pencil instead of a marker right away to create this crescent moon over there. Okay, and then I'm going to fill this in with black. So I'm going to go switch over to this. I just wanted to show you real quick. All right, I'm going to just draw on top of my sketch. And then we're going to create the inside of the eye, stop there a little bit, and then draw that crescent shape. Repeat the same process, and then stop there. I don't know about you, but I still have a hard time to make things balance or equal onto the other side or symmetrical. So if you are having a hard time with that, please don't give yourself a hard time because I still do it and I've learned to just kind of, you know what, I did my best. And just practice and practice and practice. So I'm just filling that part in with black. Okay. All right. I was using the Pit Artist and brush pen because it's easier to fill in areas like that. I'm gonna go make a little tiny mouth like what I showed you earlier, just like that. So it's like a line like this on top and then a letter U at the bottom. And then just slant and then fill in this area right here. Okay. Though I know that this is waterproof, and sometimes I get really, really impatient, so I have a heat tool, and I'm just going to set this so that I don't have to worry about them bleeding through. But the Pit Artists, they are waterproof, but I am impatient because I am going to be coloring this in. Okay. I think that's good enough. All right, so gelatos. Like what I said, gelatos, you can't apply them directly like crayons into your drawings, and that's going to be okay. Or you can have an art palette. This one is from Faber-Castell. It's part of the set that I have. I don't think they sell this individually, but if you have any artist palette, you can get your pigment stick, your gelatos like this, and then just kind of smudge it into your art palette like that. And then I'm going to be, that one is the color banana. And then we have, what's this one? This one is blood orange. Ooh. And then this one is red cherry. Okay, because we're going to color in our pumpkin. All right, and then I also have a green, and this one is lime. Okay, so I have a water in here, a water cup, and then a water brush. And I'm just going to dip in my water brush in there, and I'm going to start coloring in using the gelatos. Put this over here. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of water in my gelatos like this. So if you have watercolors with you today, you can use your watercolors to color your drawings, or if you have crayons or colored pencils, those are fine too. But let's start with the lightest color first. So if you have a marker, if you're using a marker, if you're using crayons, we want to start with our lightest color first because we're going to create shadows and highlights here. So I'm going to start with my yellow, and I'm just going to color it in. I'm not going to overthink things. I'm just going to color. And this is really the relaxing part. So I love coloring. Even when I was a little girl, it's just my favorite thing to do. I would spend hours and hours just trying to fill in my coloring books. It's so relaxing. It puts me in a zone. It's just, I'm in the moment when I'm doing these art. So try not to get in the inside your eyes. And I already did a little bit. I'm so not careful. So I'm just going to try and be careful over there. Go over here. Go over there. Okay. Okay, so we have the yellow base first. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the second or the medium color. I love to color in with 3 colors. I want to start with the lightest, a medium shade, and then the darkest shade. So I always start my base with the lightest shade. Now we're going to go to the orange because this is the medium color that we have, which was the blood orange. So just getting water. With your pencil, the outline is smearing. It depends. Sometimes that all depends on what type of paper you're using, or sometimes you just really have to be careful. Okay, so before I color in the orange, let's talk a little bit about the shadows and highlights. So how do you determine where you're going to put in your shadow or the dark side of your coloring? You know, you see these professional colors and like, oh, why is there a darker orange where there's a lightest one? Okay, so imagine this. If this is our pumpkin, what's going to happen is you're going to imagine where your light source, or let's say the sun, where the sun is. So if I want the sun to be on my top right, then obviously it's going to be shining over here. That means all of my shadows are going to be over here onto my bottom left. Now, if the sun is on my left and it's shining straight over here, my pumpkin, then everything, all the dark side is going to be over here on the right side of my drawings. Now, what if my light is on top, right? So everything over here would be light and over here will all be dark. Now, what if the light source is coming directly at it? Well, all of this will be light and we're going to create shadows, around the image or our drawing. So that's how you're going to understand where your shadows and highlights are going to be. Okay, so let's say, for example, that my light is shining directly into my pumpkin. That means all of this will be light and we're going to create our colors, our shadows, our depth over onto the corners, and we're going to leave this part bright and light. So I am dipping into my orange, and that's what we're going to do. So if everything is going to be in the corners, I'll start over here and just spread down. And then I'll repeat the same process and then spread down. With the gelatos, the Faber-Castell Gelatos, remember that the more water you use, the more you dilute your gelatos with water, then the more washed your colors are going to be. Okay, so less water, which means it's going to be more pigment, then more saturated your colors are going to be. That's just one thing to remember about that. All right, and then I'm going to create a base over here. And then if you feel like, you know what, I don't like my lines, they're too harsh, what you can do is you can just dip and clean your brush. And then without touching or without getting any more colors, I'm just going to go back in and then just kind of clean and spread those colors around that I applied so I can have no harsh lines. Everything will be just smooth and washed look. But if you love that harsh lines and that sharp lines that you created, then that's fine. Everything is just personal preference. So it's really up to you. You know, I love the wash look, but sometimes I love the sharp lines too. I love the contrast that I can see from the dark to light. Okay, I'm going to create a little bit of dark from there to there. So I'm just dipping in my gelatos again and just kind of going to create this wash look. And I really have lots of water here and less colors. So I'm just going to move things around. So I don't have those harsh lines there, but we just added more colors and saturation. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go over to our third color, which is I think this is the cherry, I think. Yep, the red cherry. So just dipping in there. And this time, one thing that you're going to want to remember is when you're using different brushes, like watercolor brushes, you see many different types of brush. And like, which one do I need? There's like flat, there's like a brush tip in different sizes also. One thing that I can really highly recommend is really trying to understand what kind of strokes can you make with your brush. Like for example, this brush, I can make really, really thin. I can make really, really, look, like round, like with wider strokes. I can create narrow, thin lines. It depends on the pressure and how much I am going to really bend that tip of the brush, so I can create many different types of strokes. But understand your brushes or your brush markers, know and play what you can do with it. So this time I'm going to create like the really thin strokes, like a hair strokes, but like this. So really thin, but I'm going fast. So like that. So just creating like when you're drawing hair or grass, you do this stroke like this. You go light, but fast, like that. So this one, I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. And I'm going to leave a negative space in the middle so we can have our highlights over there. Repeat that. And the more you practice, the more control you're going to have with your brush. And also finding what feels natural the most to you. Sometimes it's like some people prefer from the top to the bottom. I think mine is the bottom to the top. I feel like I have more control doing my strokes from the bottom to the top like that. All right, so from here, I'm going to create that too. The lighter you go and you do your strokes, you're going to see it, the thinner the strokes are. And if you're using a marker, this works as well. If you have a brush tip in your marker, with pencils, it's going to work as well. It just depends on the pressure you apply. Like that. So just make sure that you have enough and at least very close to even spaces, okay? The highlight that you're going to leave in there. As long as you don't make it like square, you want to make sure that you have tiny strokes like this or just a washed look. If you're having a hard time with the strokes, then just wash and don't have any sharp lines at all. As long as it's not straight rectangle, you're good to go. And I color in out of the line. It's okay. I still do it and I am old. All right, so let's go from here. And next week, same time, 2 o'clock, we have another class and we're going to draw more fall characters. We're going to learn more drawings. So I hope you'll join us again next week because it's going to be fun. We're going to create like pies, coffee cups, pumpkin lattes. right, this one on the outer side of my pumpkin, I'm just going to make this red. So I'm going to color this in. Like that. Okay. All right, I'm going to clean my brush a little bit because I want to go back to my medium color. So I'm getting a little bit of orange right here. And I'm going to dip into my red as well. So I'm just blending those two colors together. And then I'm going to repeat the same process of what we did. So just creating the strokes. Like that. Oops. And then next month, we have some fun classes that I am working on with Faber-Castell as well. We're going to be creating a lot of Halloween projects, so watch out for that. Make sure to subscribe and to register for future classes. And some of our past classes, you can find them over at Michael's YouTube. All right, so this time, if you feel like you don't have enough depth or like shadows, then you want to just go over them, get more of those colors, and then add a little bit here and there. Okay, but I'm happy with mine. So I'm just going to clean my brush, and then I'm going to get a brown color. This one is a metallic. This is ice chai. Is it how you pronounce it? Ice chai. Okay, so it's kind of like gold, but I'm going to dip there. Have a little bit of water. Ooh, it's like pretty metallic color. Just color this in. Like that, filling those space. I'm gonna leave my heart not colored in because I want some pink over there. I love pink. Okay, clean my brush. All right, I think I'm good. I'm gonna color in. I forgot her tiny little hands. I'm just getting a little bit of my orange and just coloring that in. Okay, now I want a little bit of color. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue, and I'm going to show you that you can apply your gelatos directly like this. Look. Like a crayon or like a marker. Just going to do this like that. And then I can still go over and blend the colors with my water brush. And you know, the amazing part with the gelatos is that once they're dry and set, these are not going to move. These are not going to blend with another color. And I love using this for mixed media projects like that. Like when I'm working on my journal, and I just love layering the gelatos. All right, I'm just going to heat set this real quick so we can add some depth using the colored pencils this time. We're going to have to name this our pumpkins, right? They have to have names. What am I going to name my pumpkin? I'm thinking you have to name yours too. And if you're creating along with me today, I would love to see them on social media. Please tag us, Make It with Michaels, and also Faber-Castell USA. And you can find me on social media as well, Mommy Lay. I'd love to stay connected with you. You can always ask me questions in there. Say hi, say hello. I always love that. Okay, so now I have that. Something's missing. Ooh, blush. We need a blush for my pumpkin. So I'm gonna grab some of my crayons, and also I'm gonna add a little bit more depth. I feel like I'm missing more depth here. So I'm gonna grab like reds, deep reds, like this, and a brown for my stalk. All right, and the pink. I'll grab some orange as well. Okay. I'm going to start with the lightest first. Like what we did with our gelatos or the first medium that we used, I always love to start with the lightest, as always. So I'm just going to add, remember the strokes that we were doing earlier? I'm going to repeat that process and go over it again and just add more. That. This. I tend to be quiet when I'm doing coloring. Sometimes I forget that I'm with you guys. Okay. Repeat the same process here. I think I want to go over the lines with the colored pencils and just kind of really highlight these lines over here. And this is really a fun way to add dimensions to your drawing, make it like 3D looking. It's like real life looking is when you add your highlights and your depths and shadows in your drawings. So everything is not just flat. And kind of like turning your characters alive. Like that. Okay. Go in there. Right, this time I'm going to go over with my medium color. So that was, let's talk about the colors real quick. So cadmium orange, now I'm going to use scarlet red as my second color. So I'm just going to go and create those strokes again. Really create the depth. I'm going close to the lines where we created the lines, kind of really getting in there. Going over the lines to really create some depth. See, I'm just following the lines that we created earlier for a line work, line art. I'm just going over them again with these colors. Ooh, coloring outside my line again. Somebody help me. All right, so here, this is going to have to be really dark over here. Create depth over here. Right? So keep adding your medium color in there. I'm going to go over here to my left side. Repeat the same process. Do a little bit of stroke like this. And then when I'm in my lines, I'm just going to go over them and really apply the colors in there. Pack those colors in. I'm going to burnish the colors together and blend them. All right, go over here. This part. That's so cute. I still don't know what I'm going to name my pumpkin. We have to name the pumpkin. Okay. Just be careful when you're drawing by the around the lines. Don't be like me. Sometimes I'm always in a hurry and I like mess up my drawing because I am super impatient. It's not good. Just be patient and enjoy the moment. All right. I feel like I need more here. Okay. Pumpernickel. That's cute. Pumpernickel. All right. So now I'm going to go over my third color. So that was the cadmium red. I need a deeper red. Is that what I used? I did. I am going to need what's this color? Geranium Lake, pale geranium lake. I feel like I'm just going to go over this one. Oh, this is a different color. So the third color would be the middle cadmium red, because the one that we used earlier was the, oh, now I'm confused. Okay, this was the middle. Scarlet red was the middle one. So the third one, the deepest one that I'm going to use is the middle cadmium red. Oh yeah, this is dark. I'm just going to go light. I love these colored pencils. It is a bit pricey, but these are really, really great quality. It's such a pleasure to blend with these pencils. It's high quality. It's an artist grade. These drawings will last for like what, 100 years or so. If you take care of your journals, look at this. It's like super easy to blend these colors together. See how by just adding depth and shadows, look how much alive our pumpkin is now. Pumpernickel, right? Okay, you have to send more names. You have to pick names for the pumpkins. And if you follow me on Instagram, I might post the name of our pumpkin there if we cannot come up with a choice. So I'm creating my strokes like that. I'm going really light. Penelope, ooh, I love Penelope, it's so cute. Patty Pumpkin, and I love Patty too. You guys are so good. Pippi, Daisy, wow. I was actually thinking earlier Scarlet too, since we use Scarlet Red too, huh? Pippi, I love Pippi. I like the Pippi. Super cute. My daughter, she is into the squishy mallows, is that it? So we've been collecting them, and I don't have any more space in my in our bed because everything is just in the bed sleeping with us. So I don't have any more space. Yes, they are super cute and squishy and so cuddleable. And oh, so far we have 3 big ones, and it's so hard to buy them lately. Now we're almost done here. Look at the difference from earlier. I wish we took a picture from the earlier of our first drawing to now, where you can really see how much alive this drawing is just by adding our highlights and shadows. And I'm just going to burnish all the colors together. And to do that, I'm going to go over everything with the lightest color, which is the cadmium orange. And I'm just going to go over this and burnish all the colors together, blending them together. And I'm really applying pressure while doing this as well. Blend those colors together. Penelope is cute, Pippi is cute, Daisy is cute, Pumpernickel's cute. I'm having a hard time. I cannot decide. Now, if you have a yellow, a lightest color, lighter than the lightest color that we used, you can actually use that and just go over the middle part and just kind of color it in like this. This is her 4th color. But lighter than the lightest color that you picked. Just go over that and then just color it in the middle part. Look, so cute. Now here's a tip I'd like to share with you. Inside the eyes, there's this visual effect that happens. Our brain tells us that, yes, it is white, but if you go over it really lightly with a very, very, very light blue, the one that I'm using is the light cobalt turquoise. How do you pronounce turquoise? There you go. And then just create like a border around that eye. You can barely see mine because it's really, really light. I'm just going to go over that. And for some reason, it tells our brain is like automatically picking up and tells us, oh, that's white. although it looks white. Okay, and then last but not the least, I'm gonna color our tongue very light pink. It is dark flesh, but it's color pink. I'm just gonna go over this part here and just color it in. I'm gonna do that 2 layers, maybe 3. Right, and then I love putting blush on my drawings like this. So it's just a stretched oval like that. So that is our blush. And I'm gonna go over here where I added the heart and just color that pink as well. Go over my tiny hand. So what are we gonna name it? I can't decide. Like this. Daisy's super cute. I can't decide. Piper. Oh, Piper's cute too. I can't decide. I cannot. Okay, but maybe we can find one name and then a middle name. Daisy, I don't know. Well, we didn't add leaves. You can add leaves to this. Just, you know, how you normally do your leaves. Just add a little bit of green in there, just so you can have another color. Piper is really cute. You guys are good with names. She is so cute. I appreciate you guys joining us today. This was so much fun. I hope you learned something fun today. And I hope you decide to join us again next week for another fun class here with Michaels. We're going to be doing more fall drawing. So we might do the mushroom next week. Paulie, you know what? Paulie is really, really good. I really like Paulie. So I'm going to call her Paulie the Pumpkin. So that's what we're going to call her. But we want to thank you on behalf of Faber-Castell Team USA and Michaels. My name is Leigh Ralston. I had so much fun with you guys today. Thank you for joining in. Until next time, same place, next week, 2 o'clock. I hope you join me again. We're going to draw more fall characters and we're going to have lots of fun. Stay creative and stay happy, everyone. Thank you.